a joyful night. We were celebrating my mother's 75th anniversary. Birthday, excuse me. And everyone was there from the family, from the oldest to the youngest. And my father was so happy. He was treating my mother like gold that night, singing to her his special love songs and giving her kisses and telling us how much he loved us.
So it was a Sunday night. We ordered just pizza and cake, and we decided, just keep it simple. We all left the house, said goodbye. And as I was leaving that night, my father says to me, Sylvia. And I said, what, Dad? And he looked at me and at that time I was going through divorce and going through my own stuff. And he said to me, it's okay, don't worry about it. I get home and my brother calls me, like I'm literally putting my pajamas on. It's like 10 o'clock. And my brother calls saying, Daddy died. Screaming, not just said, screaming on the phone. So what you don't know is my parents' house was the Christmas house. Mm-hmm. Everybody would drive by to see it. Now, my father used to make his own shooting stars. He had the whole nativity scene that he made out of wood. And all the lights were the old kind of lights, not the new ones. So the breaker would flip. So every time he'd have to go to the basement and flip the breaker. And so this time he fell from the top of the stairs to the bottom. Suddenly. And my mom heard it, ran, and my mom wasn't able to do stairs. They lived in a bungalow, and she ran up and down those stairs like no tomorrow.
Hi everyone, and guess what? We're back with another Sandwich Years. And so for those of you who don't know, Sandwich Years is about taking care of the top bun, where you're taking care of potentially your parents, elderly in capacity. So your parents, possibly aunts, uncles, possibly siblings, somebody who needs care but they're older than you. And then also you're taking care of the bottom bun, so somebody who's younger than you, possibly your kids, possibly grandkids, possibly nieces, nephews, any sorts of youth that kind of look up to you. You're the person in the middle. And so we call that the Sandwich Years. We also call that Squeezed and Blessed. And so today I have a special guest. The first time we've ever done this. We got sisters here. So excited. And so we've got Sylvia and Tina here. And wrong order. Tina and Sylvia. So we got to know the nuances. And so before we start, I do want to show a little bit of their personalities before they introduce themselves. So, favorite color?
Purple.
Blue.
Okay. Favorite animal?
Elephant.
Dog.
Okay. Are we seeing any wild things here? Favorite drink?
Vodka.
Wine.
Okay, I don't know if you noticed, but I noticed vodka, wine, little difference. We got a little edgy. I think Tina might be edgier than Sylvia, but we'll find out how that all works, and we'll do a little bit more quizzing throughout. If you can take a moment and introduce yourself and tell us who's squeezing and blessing you now, and then we're going to talk about some nuances. So we're going to start with older, wiser, but I'm a younger. Sometimes youngers are cuter.
They are.
Okay, there you go. Tina said it. Start with Tina first. If you can introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about yourself and who's squeezing and blessing you, and then we'll pass it over to Sylvia.
Hi, my name is Tina Calleri. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a mother of 3 and a grandmother of 6 beautiful grandchildren who are all adults. And I wrote a book called Whispers from the Cloud, which is selling on Amazon. And I am now also a motivational speaker, which I talk about my book and my life.
And another thing that you might not know, she sings. And so maybe later, if we have time, we'll get her to sing get her to sing us out. I don't have a song yet, but I know Sylvia writes songs, so I might have to get her to write me a Sandwich Year song.
That's right.
So thank you very much, and we're so happy to have you.
Thank you.
And so over to Sylvia.
Hi, I'm Sylvia Calleri. I am the founder of Authentically Evolving. I'm a certified life mastery coach. I help people live the best version of themselves. And so I am a mother of 2 gorgeous sons and recently a new grandma, which I'm so excited about. And I'm living life to the fullest.
Okay. And when she had her grandson, she said, there's a new boy in town. And so we're all like, And so literally everything, if we look at her phone, we're going to see him as well, right? And so you're a boy mom.
Yes.
Complete boy mom. Do you have boys as well?
I have one boy, yes.
But you brought the girls.
2 girls.
Okay. All right. So before we start, let's talk about, we'll talk about bottom buns right now because we've already introduced the bottom buns. How is it being a grandparent?
I love being a grandparent. It showed me to do things differently that I did with my children.
Okay.
We spoil them more.
Okay.
We spend a little bit more time because now we have more time to spend with them. And just now that they're older, just having those conversations and talking to them about my experiences in life, and they look up to me as being wiser and giving them opinion on how to handle things in their lives. So I just love it.
Okay. All right.
Well, I'm over the moon. I found the love of my life. It's my first. He's only 6 months old, so he's adorable. And I think the biggest joy that it's brought me is seeing my son, becoming a father and living, and like seeing the love through him and through his eyes, and it just fills my heart.
Okay. And so, living the sandwich years, there's that bun, and then we call it another bun underneath. It's like the Big Mac kind of thing. And so you have all those nuances. You get to experience the joys again, pretty much.
Yes.
Right? But with the different lens. Exactly what you said. You get to spoil them and send them home.
Right.
And then you might get your own kids sitting there going, how did you deal with that? How did you deal with that? And back in my day, we did this and this. Now you have technology. Google it. AI it. Figure it out. And I think also they have all the knowledge coming to them, which is a little different from us, right? We had to kind of go look for it. And so raising your kids, did you find anything, because your kids are older, but they're still your kids, right? And so it's just different things they come to you for, right?
Yes, they do.
How is parenting now to older kids? Like what's one of the things that you're like, you know what, I'm parenting, but I'm not really parenting. I'm guiding, or like what is it like now? Because they're older and they have their own kids. So now, what does it look like?
Well, it all depends on the question so that they're asking, because I always ask them, do you want the mother answer or do you want the coach answer? Because there are 2 different answers, right? So I ask them questions mostly. I try not to answer the question for them. I just keep asking questions. So what do you think you should be doing? Or how, what if you did this, or what if you did that? Giving them options as opposed to telling them what to do. Because you know what? Just telling them, they're going to say, they don't want to hear what you have to say. They just want a sounding board more than anything. And confirmation that what they're thinking is right.
Okay. So as our kids get older, and do you have more to add to that?
Well, actually, I do. Being a single mom and parenting my children, I've always tried to guide them and whatever questions they ask. But now that they're older, I feel like I just say, well, figure it out. Okay. You're an adult now. I'm your mother. I'm there. Yes, I am here for you. But you're an adult now. You're a parent now. And I can only guide you to a certain point, but then the decision is yours at the end of the day. So you figure it out on your own. And then you tell me about it. And maybe I can add more to it.
Yeah. Because to be quite honest, they got to live with the consequences, right?
Right.
Like when they're younger, you can kind of navigate them through the consequence and even maybe take away some consequences or even give them consequences. But as an adult, you kind of, what's the saying? You eat and where you sleep. Like you have to deal with whatever you're dealing with.
Right. You made your bed, you lie on it.
Exactly. And so at the end of the day, that's another approach. So one approach is figure it out. The other piece is probing questions that will actually help them figure it out. And then also sit there and go, I think you're good. And that's kind of it. And they will be okay because guess what? You raised them, right?
Right.
And so the other piece is you have another nuance that comes in, which is an in-law. How is that?
Well, for me, it's been incredible. My daughter-in-law, I just love her to death. She's, she is more mature, so I'm not dealing with a young younger person, and she knows her stuff. So she challenges me on stuff when I like suggest something. Oh no, we don't do that anymore. I've researched it. They've researched everything.
Right.
Okay.
So we have a really open communication where we could talk, and we have agreed to disagree sometimes. So it's good.
Yeah. Interesting.
My daughter-in-law, she's a sweetheart. She just loves me to death. You know, we get along so well. She's like my own daughter, basically. I could share anything with her, and she doesn't judge. She doesn't, criticize. She's just there for me all the time, to be honest with you. And I'm blessed that way to have someone like that as my daughter-in-law.
It's good. And you know what? The relationship with daughters-in-laws and in-laws in general is a tricky one. And we've talked about it like on the show and just even talking about it in general. It's not an easy relationship, but you've got to figure out a way to deal, because guess what? You're not the one in the actual relationship, right? You're not. It's your kids.
Right.
And so the kids have to kind of truly do it. Okay, so overall, our bottom buns are okay.
Yes.
They are.
They're okay. Okay. So we're going to talk a little bit about your top buns, because that's one thing that siblings have. You share the top bun. And so sharing the top bun isn't always the funnest. Sibling relationships get tested during the sandwich years. I'm not going to lie. I know that for myself because I do have siblings, but it totally gets tested. Tell us a little bit about your top buns. Like tell us about their reality and the parents. So one of the things we talked about before was you get the parents in a different stage, siblings, right? And so the older one got them when they were fresh, new, and honestly, multitude of pictures. Everything, like you were the sun and the moon. Then you have another child and you're like, you know what? I have to still manage both. I don't need all those pictures because I never really looked at them. So a couple here and there, plus technology comes in and all of those sorts of things. So you get parents at a different stage. So talk to us first about the parent you received before we talk about what happens to your top bund. So the parent you received was?
The parent that I received were young and vibrant and hardworking, and they were always happy, because all I saw was happiness in our family growing up. I never experienced or saw my parents at all having an argument, especially in front of the children, or being mad at each other. There was always laughter in our home and joy. I experienced my mother cooking up a storm all the time. My dad coming from work, I would get the little basin for his feet so he can soak them because he worked in construction. I helped out a lot, being the oldest sibling. I mean, for 6 years, I was the only child. So I learned a lot from my mom. And my mom has always been my best friend, even as a little girl. I was very, very attached. Our bond was very, very strong. And my dad, I got to know my dad in his late 60s, in his early 60s, late 60s, when he retired, because he was always working as a young parent to provide for the family, to make sure the bills were paid for. Mind you, my mom worked as well, and that's where I came in as the older sibling to take care of the home chores and the siblings and in our culture, it's expected.
Yeah.
It's not asked. It's expected that we have to do it, especially the girl.
Especially the eldest.
Especially the eldest.
And I don't think that's changed much. I'm going to be quite honest. The eldest does have a lot of responsibility, especially when they're home. Their expectations seem to be a little bit more, too. And so... we all, I think, know the eldest is a little bit there's a lot more there. Sylvia, tell us about the parent you saw, the parents you got.
Very similar, I must say. I mean, she got to see the younger side of them. I got to see them as more grandparents growing up, because I was an aunt at the age of 7. My sister made me an aunt at the age of 7. So, so I grew up with my nieces and nephews as other siblings almost, right? Because we lived next door to each other growing up also. So we were a very close family. And like Tina said, our house was always filled with joy and laughter. We had our issues, obviously. We had family issues. But growing up, we had such great role models for love. Our parents loved each other. My father adored my mother. And I think that's why we kind of we weren't very lucky in love, because we had such a high expectation of a role model in a man, and always desired for the similar kind of love that our father gave our mom.
Oh.
And so, I remember at their 65th anniversary, we said, "You're going to marry her again?" Because we always just decide with my father jokingly, kind of, because my mom was a little bit more dominant in her attitude. And he goes, "Yes, I'll marry her today, tomorrow, and forever."
Aww.
And just, he was just a really cute relationship, that they had.
Okay, so you got similar parents, but a little bit of a different, because they're older.
Yes.
And so with them being older, also having someone older who normally took care of you, it was a little tricky too, because they're sort of sitting there going, wait a second, I have to answer that? Normally she takes care of that.
Right.
Normally Tina takes care of that. Now Tina's taking care of her own. So it was kind of a lot for you. And so your sandwich year started a lot earlier.
Definitely.
Because you had your kids a lot earlier, and then you got to see the nuances of her sandwich years before yours kicked in.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So let's now talk about our parents as they get older. And as we all know, parents get older, and some they start getting ailments, either mentally or physically. Did we see any with our parents?
Well, to be honest with you, my parents have always been strong people. And even growing up, but just my mother had the health issues and the challenges, a lot of health challenges. My father was always, wouldn't you say he was always a healthy man and strong, always working. And when he retired, that garden of his had to be the best. He won the best bloomer of the year for the town of Markham. I mean, he was always on the go, where my mother, we were worried more about her because she had heart problems, COPD, issues like that, right? And our parents were the opposite in that sense, let's say. But other than that, they were members of Italian social clubs. They would do whatever they had to do throughout the day, they did, and then they would get all dolled up for the evening to go and do some socialing with their, friends and family, and they were happy. We always saw them happy. And even my mother's health didn't bring her down. She would be out there, socializing with anybody out there,
She still puttered around a bit.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so, I mean, I know your story, and I know we're going to get on it, and it's going to get a little tricky and sad because the love they had for each other to then know what transpired is tricky.
That's right.
And so, I mean, they spent a lot of time together and things like that. And so with Dad passes first, correct?
He does. Suddenly.
Suddenly.
Right.
So I don't know who wants to share that story a bit or what you want to share, but
Well, we
please
can
do.
both share it together.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a joyful night. We were celebrating my mother's 75th anniversary. Birthday, excuse me. And everyone was there from the family, from the oldest to the youngest. And my father was so happy. He was treating my mother like gold that night, singing to her his special love songs and giving her kisses and telling us how much he loved us.
So
And
Dad is older than Mom or the same?
Yeah.
yes,
7
he's
years.
7 years older.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So he was 82 and she was 75.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. All right. So great celebration for her birthday.
Right, great celebration for her birthday. And Sylvia, do you want to continue
Yeah,
it?
so we were all happy and everything. And so we all lived like literally 2 minutes apart from each other.
And still do.
And still, well, my
Well, we
sister and
do.
I do, but my parents did also. My brother did also at the time. And so it was a Monday night. We ordered just pizza and cake, and we decided, just keep it simple. We all left the house, said goodbye. And as I was leaving that night, my father says to me, Sylvia. And I said, what, Dad? And he looked at me, and at that time I was going through divorce and going through my own stuff. And he said to me, it's okay, don't worry about it. And I said, what? Tell me, what do you want? And he goes, it's okay, don't worry. So we, as normal Italians, we kiss, we say goodbye, We always say I love you before we leave, and we left.
And then he said to us, you know that gift you got me in October when I turned 82? We had bought him a jacket, right? A nice jacket. And I said, yes. He goes, I don't like it. I want you to get me something more sportier and younger looking. And I said, okay.
This was the same night.
Yeah, the same night.
Yeah.
I said, okay, Dad, whenever you're free, let us know. We'll take you back. We'll take you so you can pick out your own jacket and whatever you like, we'll do the exchange. And then we said, okay, bye. We'll see you tomorrow. Just a normal night like everything,
We get home and my brother calls me. Like, I'm literally putting my pajamas on. It's like 10 o'clock. And my brother calls saying, Daddy died. Screaming, not just said, screaming on the phone. And apparently, so what you don't know is my parents' house was the Christmas house. Mm-hmm. Everybody would drive by to see it. Now, my father used to make his own shooting stars. He had the whole nativity scene that he made out of wood. And all the lights were the old kind of lights, not the new ones. So the breaker would flip. So every time he'd have to go to the basement and flip the breaker. And so this time he fell from the top of the stairs to the bottom suddenly. And my mom heard it, ran, and my mom wasn't able to do stairs. They lived in a bungalow. And she ran up and down those stairs like no tomorrow.
100%.
Called 911 and called my brother, and we were all there in a matter of minutes. Right?
Right.
So it was very devastating because they did revive him. And we all went to the hospital, and it was just a shock because we had just been there.
Yeah. So they revised him to talk or no?
No, he
just
was
his
brain
heart.
dead.
He was
Okay.
brain dead.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry about that, and I'm sorry that I had to that you had to share your story. But I think there was a lot from it that you learned.
Absolutely.
We did. We learned so much. The sad thing about it, Chantel, is that yes, we were worried about our dad that fell, but we were worried about Mom's health issues, her heart. Are we going to be losing our mom now right away? Because that's her partner who she shared every single moment with. The fact that he just passed away right in front of her eyes, and I was more worried about my mom. Okay, my dad had the accident. I was devastated, of course, but at the same time, I was trying to keep my mother calm so nothing would happen to her,
Which is normally the case, they call it the whole survivor thing. Mm-hmm.
Right.
And so I think one of the things I'm going to ask you is, how'd you guys, if somebody was going through that same, obviously sudden death, you can't really do much. You obviously congregate as a family, you console each other, and you have each other. But then you also have this mom whose love of her life just passed away and is sort of sitting there going, wait a second,
right?
That's my partner. Yeah. And so what did we do? How would you tell somebody, what did you do? And then what would you tell people to do? Hindsight's 20/20.
Yeah. So for me, I didn't get a chance to really grieve my father when he passed because we couldn't in front of my mom, because then she took on our grief also as our mother, right? And we always would say, okay, you're going to be fine, Mom. We're going to be here for you. I would have my crying moments in the shower when I was alone. What I would suggest for people to just be together. A lot of people want to be on their own and want to stay isolated in situations like that, which I think that's when we need each other the most, and surrounding each other and love. And we were able to come together and talk about things and remember all the memories, all the good stuff that had happened in life. So we tried not to focus on that one moment, but on the life that he lived that was so full.
Yeah. Tina, same thing? Or?
Yes, the same thing, of course. And then we found it, we didn't know how to tell our mom that we had to pull the plug on our dad because he was brain dead. I mean, his heart was beating, yes, but as soon as that plug was pulled, he was gone.
And the comprehension at that point for her is just it's my birthday.
Right.
And how is this all happening right now? Yeah. And also, I'm sure, and I'm going to say it, with her ailments, she thought she was going to go first.
Oh, yes.
We all
did.
And
I say this with my parents.
Right.
My dad had prostate cancer. My mom was fine. they weren't together, but at the end of the day, I had already said, you know, I'm losing you. Didn't expect this.
Right.
And so that shifts things.
Yes.
Like literally,
Right.
even for yourself, like mentally, like Sylvia, you're sort of sitting there going, I couldn't grieve. I had to make decisions
Yeah.
without actually feeling them because you didn't want your mom to see you that sad. And
Right.
now you're also explaining that she wasn't even really there.
No.
Yeah.
To sit there and go, this isn't dad. Like, we got to pull it. And she's just probably looking at you going, what are you talking about? His chest is moving.
Yes.
Exactly. That's what. But he's
Sorry,
breathing.
like, those
But
are the
he's
things where the
breathing.
science starts.
Right.
Yeah,
He
the
should-
science starts sitting there.
Right.
She goes, no, he's there.
And look at his stomach. It's going up and down. He's breathing. He's breathing. His chest is breathing. I said, and then the doctor said, asked the doctor in front of my mom, if this was your dad, what would you do? She says, he's brain dead. He's gone already. And my mom heard that, and she could understand the bit of the English when she said that. So when the doctor left, I got on my hands and knees and looked at my mom while she was sitting there, and I held her hands, and I said, Mom, I know this is your husband, the love of your life, but he's my father, and this is a very hard decision for me and my sister, my brother also to make. He's our father. So we have to all get together and make this decision. Because it's not all about you. It's also us, you know, that are part of this, right?
And we knew that he would not want to live that way.
Right. So she agreed, and
So from what I hear from you, it is sometimes you have to get sometimes the professional to say the clinical things that will actually help with you saying the emotional things.
Right.
Yeah.
And so the clinical things will help first you to digest what's going on. And then once you do that, as well as whoever's around, that will make it a little easier to sit there and go, he's not there. He's not there. So I'm so sad that I had to go through this again, but I do know your story, and it's one of those ones I'm like, so
Right.
when we think now for mom, now we have to take care of mom. And so there's 3 of you.
Yes.
How do we take care of mom now? Like, there's 3 of you, there's sibling nuances. Anybody who has a sibling, you know, there are some nuances that happen in regards to who has what role. So,
Well, first it was pretty chaotic.
It was.
We were just wanted to be there. All of us wanted to be there all the time. And then we finally got to a point where we said, okay, we have to make a schedule. We can't all be here, sitting here, watching. Like, we all have lives too. We have children. We have work. We were all working. And so it was like, we need to make a schedule and take turn. And we were very fortunate that we had such an extended family, with Tina's children being adults, my kids being, in their late teens.
they were always there.
They all
always
helped.
there.
All the grandchildren.
and you
pitched
let
in.
everybody help.
We let everyone
Everybody
help.
helped out.
And did you ask anybody for help too? Like, did you have to ask or no?
Not
we
really,
didn't.
no.
So who was the schedule holder?
It was like,
All of us.
Because somebody
all
had
of-
to, somebody had to hold the schedule.
well, like my mom liked to go to the social club. After 6 months after my father passed away, I'd explained to her that she needs to get out. She can't stay at home and sit and watch TV all day, and for me to worry about what's going to happen. So if I know she's socializing and she with her friends, she's good that way. So I would drive her to the social club, and then one of the grandchildren or Sylvia
we'd go pick her up.
or my brother would go pick her up, and so we try to get the schedule in that matter.
So to answer your question, I think I kind of organized the schedule.
You had
Right,
the
she
schedule,
did.
and then you're the communicator. That's
I'm
what
the
I'm sensing.
communicator, yes.
Because you would be like, Mom, and you'd have to look her in her eye. And to be quite honest, senior is not the senior. The oldest kid has a different relationship to say to the parents. They can tell them straight out.
Right.
And that's what happened in my family as well. Like, the
Right.
older one was the
I
one
agree.
who was just like, this is how it is. Like, you lay down the law or you communicate. Whereas the younger ones kind of, unfortunately, we kind of waver because we're still the younger one. Mm-hmm. That's the nuance I had. Is it similar?
It's just exactly the same. Exactly.
Who's the caregiver?
My sister, I think, the most. She took care of them.
The-
She was more available. But again, my kids were younger. I mean, we all did what we could.
Right.
She was working more from home. I was on the road a lot. so she was more available. And plus, because of that bond and that relationship that she had with my mom, my parents would always rely on my sister first. And
Always.
like I would go there sometimes.
Always.
And something in the mail would come in, and I would read the letter, even though I was the most educated. Read it, explain it, translate it, and everything. And my dad would say, "Don't worry about it. I'll get Tina to read it."
I just told you what it's about, Sylvia says. And, as long as they heard it from my mouth and saying, well, this is what it's about, then they were fine. They were cool and everything about it. Because don't forget, I took care of my parents even in that household as a young child, too.
Oh, no.
Okay.
But I laugh because that's it's funny because I can see it happening.
Yeah.
And if you're a sibling, you're like, oh yeah, there's somebody there that will be that person for
Right.
them. Yeah. There's somebody there who's the decision maker. Like who would be like, this is how it's going to be.
I would.
Okay.
I would say it.
All right.
I'll get arguments or, from my sister or my brother, but at the end of the argument, it's going to have to be what I said, because my parents would always go with they always thought that what I said was the right thing to do.
Okay.
And I was more old-fashioned in the way of them thinking, how they think. So this is why they went with my decision as well.
Okay. If we fast forward, because I just want to show a little bit more of the nuances. At the funeral, who did the eulogy?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
At my father's.
at your father's?
And then my sister did my mom's. Yeah.
Okay. And why did we switch it up? Or why did you do your dad's?
Well, because it was such a sudden, I took care of all the funeral arrangements. My sister and my brother were a mess.
Okay.
Yeah.
And, they left me at the house with the police officers after the fall. They went to the hospital. I had to deal with the police officers and what had happened and everything. I went to the church, planned the funeral, the readings. We went to the funeral home, picking out the little cards and
Yeah, she did everything.
And so
I must admit, it was a big load off my back to do all that. I just couldn't do it.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it. When she said she was left with the police officers, I want to just also mention that my father's death was also calculated at first as a homicide.
Well,
to be honest
any
with
death
you.
in the house is first.
Oh, wow.
No, if it was a fall, especially down the stairs, they treat it as a homicide just to prove that she wasn't pushed down the stairs, and so we had to deal with a lot of things.
But if they came at Tina with those questions, I'm sure you would have had it. I'm gonna be quite blunt, because you probably would have been like, "Are you kidding me?" Like you would have had it. So Sylvia's like, "No, you know what?
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna pussyfoot." She has a little bit more tact. Right. She probably would have been like, "You're an officer. We're gonna take care of this. I'm gonna I'm gonna go with you slowly.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get to my point where you're pushing me, but I'm gonna still because you're."
Yeah.
But Tina probably would have been like, you probably given them a couple of swear words.
Oh yeah, I probably would have. What the F? You think my mother killed my father?
Yeah, like you would have had it.
Exactly.
So with that said, with Sylvia taking care of the funeral the first time, was it just more like it's fair to do this, or it was what's happening
She
right
took
now?
over. She took over.
Okay.
Finally, she did. She took over everything. She saw how devastated I was. I was always crying. I couldn't handle it. I did go to the funeral home to pick out the caskets and did all that. We did. My brother and I, we went. And Sylvia would ask, how do you like this one? How do you like that one? I said, Sylvia, I don't care. Just do whatever you think is right,
You did what you had to do.
Right.
You step into action mode.
Yeah,
right?
Pretty
She did.
much.
Yeah.
And so when we look at moms now, you did the eulogy? Who did the decisions?
Well, we had all the decisions made, so that was the
They were all
good part. We just kind of did a duplicate of what we did for my father,
Right.
and we prearranged because we did not want to go. See, so my mother's we had more time to plan.
Yep.
And so we kind of duplicated
Right.
everything we did for my father, for my mother.
So
Right.
it's like it's learning.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
so, I mean, once the tragedy did happen, but you learned from it to be like, hey, we need to plan for this.
Yes.
Like, I mean, for one, they're not young. They were 75 and 80. Like,
Yes.
these.
Right.
And so as siblings, if you had to talk to other siblings, what advice would you give them as we wrap up? Like, what advice would you give them?
Plan.
Have a plan.
It's inevitable. Like even for ourselves, we have to plan
we have
for
to plan.
ourselves.
I have everything planned.
Yeah,
everything
because
is done.
it's
I don't want my
important.
children to go through what we went through, not having a plan for my dad. You know, because as children, we feel and we think that our parents are going to live forever. Forever. I know you never would think that day would come. But guess what? Reality kicks in.
Yeah.
It did come. And it was a shock
Okay.
to us.
So plan. Your family. Utilize your family.
Yes.
Right. Put someone in charge.
Put somebody in charge. Recognize roles can change. Recognize that everybody has a role, I think is kind of key.
Right.
Being a sibling as well. I know there's capacity levels sometimes. And it's based on what else is going on. Like you mentioned, you were going through a divorce. You were making decisions left, right, and center. That was kind of your thing to do during that time period. Your kids were a lot older when your mom passed.
Right.
You still was a little bit younger. And so, I mean, those things are going to play into factor.
Absolutely.
Take turns if you can. Like, I mean, I say who did the eulogy? Eulogy is one of the toughest things you ever have to do in life. And it's so weird because when I did both my parents, and when we did my mom's, my sister said to me, "You can't do it." And I said, "What do you mean you can't do it?" I said, "She had 2 kids, me and you. If
Right.
you can't do it, I'm left." So once you've made a decision as an older sibling, the youngest one has to pull up because there's no one else to say, no, you're doing it next.
Right.
And so she had said, "You can't do it." And I said, "Someone's got to do it. And if you're not doing it, then it's me."
Right.
And so when I did it, though, because I said, I present in front of hundreds and stuff like that. Like, this shouldn't be hard. Like, this is, and my mom's going to be with. When I did it, my sister just looked at me and said, "You did it. I'm so," like, she was proud of me. And then she also said, "If you can do it, I can." Like, so she came beside me at the end.
That's amazing.
But it was one of those things where it's just like, you're going to find the guts, but it's one of the hardest things you can do.
Yeah.
And once you've done it, you sit there and go, I could talk
Anything.
in thousands. I can talk on podcasts. I can do different
There you
things.
go.
Now look
There
at
you
you.
go.
You know
Look
what
at
I
you
mean?
now.
Okay. Thank you. Any other advice you would give from a sibling relationship before we wrap up?
For your parents, stick together all the time. Our parents at the age that they are, when we're adults, don't need anything really. They have a home, they have food in the home, all they need is love.
Yeah.
All they need is the
Presence.
love of their children and their grandchildren, their immediate family, to be there for them. That's all they need.
Yeah. And as siblings, I would say, have grace. Have grace for each other. You know, there's
Right.
going to be times where, you know, you're not going to be feeling well. Your sister's not going to be, your brother's not going to be feeling well. Like, have some compassion that everyone has their own life to live also. So, like,
And capacity.
yeah.
Right.
I mean, you might be the strong one on the surface, but to be quite honest, something could devastate you to make you a mess.
That's
Right.
And
exactly.
as a sibling, you might be sitting there going, "This is strange," but it's actually not strange.
right.
And so just knowing that piece. So
Right.
last bit, gold or silver?
Gold.
Silver. Silver.
Okay. Hot or cold?
Hot. Oh, cold. I'm always cold.
I love the heat.
So if anything you've noticed, the siblings can be different.
Oh, yes.
But at the end of the day, you've said it already, that are similar. You love your family, and family is good. And you'll come together where you need to be coming together.
That's right.
Okay. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having us here.
Thank you.
And I'm sure, so for those of you who are watching, thank you so much. I'm sure you're going to ask for them to come back, because you're seeing them at this end, but I also see the other piece, and it's so much fun. They're the fun sisters. I was calling them my sisters.
Yes.
So they're my sisters. So we'll get my sisters back on here to talk a little bit more as they go through the grandparent side, because that's the piece I don't even know that side. And then even just some fun stuff, because we didn't even talk about what they do for self-care. They work a lot and do all those fun things, but I think I need to get my sisters back on here.
Yeah.
So we're going to get you back on here. Is that a
Thank
deal?
you. That's a
pleasure.
deal,
Yeah.
for
Okay.
sure. My pleasure.
Awesome. For those of you tune in, subscribe if you're watching this or listening to this. Also, comment. Also, even send us an email and let us know if you want to see the sisters back, or what questions you have me to ask the sisters when they do come back, because they're going to come back. Because I don't think this was enough time to sort of unpeel everything.
Right.
Thank you. Till next time.